The court fell silent. A successful lawyer stood before the judge and calmly said, "I want a divorce." Then everyone turned toward his wife. She didn't cry. She didn't argue. She simply smiled and reached into her old handbag. What she pulled out seconds later changed the entire courtroom. But no one, not even her husband, was prepared for what came next. Stay with me, because this isn't just a story about betrayal. It's about a promise, a sacrifice, and a truth that could not stay hidden forever. 25 years earlier, Grace lived in a small fishing village. Every morning, before the sun rose, she carried a heavy basket of fresh fish to the local market. The work was exhausting. The smell stayed on her clothes. Some people avoided standing near her. But Grace never complained. Because every coin she earned had only one purpose. Her husband, Daniel. Daniel dreamed of becoming a lawyer. He was intelligent, hardworking, but his family couldn't afford law school. Grace believed in him when almost no one else did. She sold fish from sunrise until evening, skipped meals, wore old clothes, and quietly paid every tuition bill. Whenever Daniel wanted to quit, Grace reminded him, "One day you'll stand in a courtroom. Keep going." Those simple words became his strength. Years passed. Daniel graduated with honors. Soon, he joined one of the city's best law firms. His suits became expensive. His office grew larger. His name appeared in newspapers. People admired his success. But as his career rose, something inside him changed. He stopped visiting the market where Grace still sold fish. He asked her not to come near his office. "The smell embarrasses me," he once whispered. Those words hurt more than hunger ever had. Still, Grace stayed silent. Then came the day that broke her heart. Daniel invited several wealthy colleagues to dinner. Before they arrived, he looked at Grace and quietly said, "I think it's better if you eat in the kitchen tonight." Grace nodded. She didn't want to embarrass him. But from the kitchen doorway, she heard someone ask, "Isn't your wife joining us?" Daniel smiled awkwardly. "No, she's just someone helping around the house." Grace closed her eyes. For the first time in 25 years, she cried. Weeks later, a court document arrived. Daniel wanted a divorce. He claimed they had grown apart. His friends said he deserved a more sophisticated life. A wife who matched his success. Grace read every page carefully. Then folded it neatly. She signed nothing. Instead, she quietly appeared in court on the hearing date. The courtroom was crowded. Many had come simply because Daniel was now a respected lawyer. Some expected Grace to beg. Others expected anger. Instead, she remained calm. The judge asked if she wished to respond. She slowly stood. Then reached into her worn handbag. Out came a faded cloth. Inside it were hundreds of old receipts. Tuition payments. Hostel fees. Book purchases. Rent. Every sacrifice she had quietly made over 2 decades. Each receipt carefully dated. Carefully preserved. The courtroom became silent. Then Grace produced something else. A small notebook. Every page recorded the fish she had sold each day. How much she earned. How much she saved. And one final note written years earlier. Today I skipped lunch so Daniel could buy his law books. Even Daniel lowered his head. He had forgotten. Grace never had. The judge looked at Daniel. Is this true? Daniel couldn't answer. Because every receipt carried his signature. Every payment matched university records. Every page told the story he had tried to leave behind. Then Grace surprised everyone. She looked directly at the judge. "I didn't bring these papers to punish my husband. I brought them because I wanted him to remember. I invested in his dream. Not because I expected riches, but because I believed love meant helping someone become who they were meant to be." Tears appeared throughout the courtroom. Even the court clerk quietly wiped his eyes. Daniel finally stood. For the first time in years, he looked at Grace, not as the woman selling fish, but as the woman who had built the life he now enjoyed. He remembered the rainy mornings she walked to the market before dawn, the nights she stayed awake sewing torn clothes, the days she pretended she wasn't hungry so he could eat. Success had not changed Grace. It had changed him. Daniel slowly tore the divorce papers in half. "I spent years learning the law," he said. "But somewhere along the way, I forgot justice." Then he turned toward Grace. "I cannot erase the pain I've caused. But if forgiveness is still possible, I want to spend the rest of my life earning it." The courtroom remained silent. No one knew what Grace would say. After a long pause, she smiled gently. "Trust isn't repaired in a single day. But every journey begins with one honest step." The judge dismissed the case. Months later, people noticed something different. Every Saturday morning, a well-dressed lawyer stood beside a fish stall. Not because he had lost everything, because he had finally remembered where everything began. He proudly helped his wife serve customers. When people recognized him, he never hid. Instead, he smiled and said, "This market built my future. And this woman built me." Years later, young lawyers often asked Daniel the secret behind his success. He never spoke first about winning cases or famous clients. He always pointed toward Grace and said, "The greatest investment in my life wasn't made in a courtroom. It was made by a woman carrying a basket of fish before sunrise." Because success built on sacrifice should never produce pride. It should produce gratitude. And no title, no wealth, no achievement is worth forgetting the hands that lifted you when you had nothing. If this story touched your heart, subscribe for more unforgettable stories of kindness, sacrifice, and hope that remind us what truly matters. Our next story begins with a poor cleaner who secretly paid a stranger's hospital bill, and years later, the truth left an entire city speechless.